Last year's F1 2015 was ultimately a disappointing game. This year's game, though, is an incredible return to form. The star of the show this time around is the career mode, naturally, and what a career mode it is. Returning after its absence last year, the career mode this time around bends over backwards to accommodate the player. You get to make your own avatar and character, you get to choose the team you want to race for, you get to choose your own teammate, and getting a different experience each time around. You could choose to play for Mercedes and get a 2-season-long career mode where you help the team maintain its hegemony, or you could play as Manor and get a longer career as you attempt to chart Manor's rise to the top. The objectives change, the length changes, the experience changes. The career mode is great enough to warrant multiple playthroughs and get a different experience each time. It alone would justify the package. This career mode apart, there's also a great practice mode, which lets you accumulate resource points spent on improving your car with variable objectives available to the player again, as well as an accurate portrayal of the actual track that you will be racing on later, including the time of the day, so there's no unexpected and unpleasant surprises for you when you have to take to the track for the real thing. Arguably as great as the litany of modes in the game, however, is the sheer authenticity on display here. Authentic is a word that's used a lot for sports games, but here it's actually earned, with codemasters going to ridiculous lengths and extremes to recreate the motorsport accurately beyond any reasonable belief. From the handling of the cars to the tracks themselves to even the pit boards, everything is painstakingly rendered to seem as real and authentic as possible. If you're an F1 fan, the sense of authenticity alone should be enough to sell you on this game. Of course, none of this would matter if the game didn't play well, if the actual racing part of the equation was broken. Thankfully, Codemasters has a storied history of making great racing games, and that shows here. The racing engine feels absolutely on point. The handling is accurate enough to not lose the sense of realism the game is trying to sell, but fun enough to still be engaging. And there are few things as satisfying as shifting the gear successfully while holding down the gear in a neck-and-neck race. Tight track design, faithfully recreated from the real world, and very accurate physics, along with some very neat weather effects. We don't remember the last time we found a racing game as challenging as when we had to race in wet weather in F1 2016, all come together to create an addictive racing experience that will definitely stand out to motorsport enthusiasts, in spite of some puzzling AI programming that can often detract from the experience. The racing is certainly engaging enough that it will end up picking up some casual stragglers along the way too. That last bit is particularly true because of multiple concessions that the game makes to casual racing fans. For instance, F1 2016 permits time-strapped players, or simply players who don't love the sport enough and just want to jump in for some quick races to race in short 3 or 5 lap races with appropriately shortened practice sessions and qualifiers too. Even hardcore F1 enthusiasts will probably appreciate not having to spend an obscene amount of time on one single race. The feedback is immediate, and the player can make more progress in a single sitting this way too. All of this is wrapped up, however, in a rather baffling UI that we can't say we're personally fans of. A virtual paddock interface presents the player with messages between races, notifications about teammates and rivals, new opportunities and improvements available, and the like. It also looks a bit rough, and on the whole definitely feels like the least appealing and most unfinished part of the experience. All said and done, however, the few warts can't take away from just how fun and fully realized F1 2016 is. The sheer level of improvement here over last year's game is enough to give a series fan a sense of whiplash. Authentic and engaging enough for the motorsport diehard, and yet fun and accessible enough for the casual racing game fan, F1 2016 is one of the best recreations of a sport in a video game that we've seen yet. It's an easy recommendation for all racing game fans.
And that wraps it up. What are your thoughts about this? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and share it on Twitter and Facebook. And why not consider subscribing? We upload some really cool videos almost every day. Thank you for watching this video, and happy gaming!